welcome back. I'm so glad you're having a Tuesday with me yet again because I'm happy to see you every single week. This week, I decided to do some new decor for my daughter's room. She asked me to please make her room a rainbow and unicorn room. So I said, okay, I guess I'm going to have to make it work. And so I decided to make some letters in her name. And I wanted to decorate them all special just for her because I wanted them to be the colors that she wanted. That was my task this week, and I chose to share it with you all. Would you like to know how I did it? Well, you're going to have to stick around, and I'll show you. I'm Nye with Ellie and Mac. Come hang out with me, friends. Thank you for coming back. I decided to make these letters for my daughter's room, and I think she's going to be stoked about them. So let's give you a list of items that I had to purchase in order to make them. The first thing is you're going to have to get a craft letter. Now, I'm not going to show you the front of this letter because, believe it or not, before I started this craft, I actually videotaped the beginning and middle already and realized that the video was super blurry and I could not give you that low quality, super blurry video because even though I'm wearing my glasses today, I don't want you to have to wear yours. So in any case, I got an 8-inch letter, actually all of the ones in my daughter's name, from Walmart. They're about $1.95. I have a jar of Mod Podge, which I purchased from Joann's, and I actually used my 40% off coupon. It was $10.99, and I got it for $5 off. So, woo! Saving the money. You know I love to do that. I have a Mod Podge brush, but you don't have to use a Mod Podge brush. You can use a regular paintbrush or a sponge brush or a dabber or something like that. This is just to apply your Mod Podge. You want to have some various fabrics. These are all fat quarters from Walmart. They actually came in a stack together, all of them. And they were the perfect colors to complement my daughter's new comforter. And you don't even have to wash them because you don't plan on wearing them. So, and they'll likely never get wet again. So you don't have to wash that. You'll need a pencil. And this is because you're going to have to trace your letters. And here I have a tiny little bowl. I may or may not have taken this from a local restaurant because it had a condiment that I really, really liked in it, tartar sauce. And so I kept it. Well, I couldn't just dump my tartar sauce in my to-go box. That's gross. Don't judge me. Okay, you're going to need paper. You're going to have to line your table with paper because you don't want to get gunk on your cutting mats because then you're going to have to soak them and get all the gunk out of them because they are not very nice to your rotary cutters when they get gross. Another thing you're going to want is, oh, here it is. Another thing you're going to want is a piece of saran wrap. I know, it sounds really ridiculous, but saran wrap doesn't stick to Mod Podge. And so what you will need to do is wrap a little piece around your finger, and when you're pushing down or you're smoothing your fabric onto your wooden letter, it's going to stay better. Rather than if you use your bare hands, the fabric's likely to stick to your finger, and as soon as you press it down, it's just going to come right back up with your finger. And you don't want that. And I don't want any of you having to cry because I didn't share my little secret with you. Saran wrap. I'm going to move on. Okay, so you got all your stuff. You're ready to go. If you need a glue gun because you want to add little bejazzly digglies, if that's a word. If you want to add those to your letters, go ahead and collect those up. I put buttons on mine, so I use my glue gun. I glue gun the buttons on there, and then I Mod Podge right over them. So if you're going to do that, go ahead and get whatever you want to decorate your letter with. Now, the first thing you're going to need to do is take your fabric and lay it face down. You want your letter to also be face down on your fabric. You're going to trace around your letter with your pencil. Now, when you trace around your letter, be sure to leave a tiny bit of fabric so that you can push that fabric to the back. What happens is if you don't leave a little bit of fabric, you'll have nothing to go around the back of the letter, and you'll have kind of like a naked spot where your side fabric and your front fabric meet. And I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm tracing this letter that I already did. It's a shame. Anyways, then you're going to take your scissors, which I'm pretty sure I did not say you needed, but you need them. And you're going to cut your letter out, okay? So, nothing special. Just make sure that you cut a tiny bit extra, like maybe 1/8 of an inch around the edges of your drawn letter. So, when you have a letter that has very tight curves, this is the letter I that I have. And here, there were tight curves here, tight curve here, tight curve here, tight curve here. You're going to want to clip just barely to where you cut the line, okay? You don't want to go over the line that you cut. You just want to just snip right there, because what happens is as this fabric goes to bend around the letter, if you don't snip it, it's not going to lay flat. It's not going to stick to your letter. So that's what you do. So I have all the parts cut out. Well, sort of. I have all my letters cut out. And now I'm going to go ahead and press them so that they are ready for the Mod Podge layer. I'm going to use my little wool mat and my portable iron here to do that. I really like this portable iron. It's been kind of a little bit of a lifesaver because I can get it anywhere. The only thing is that you can't really use it for long because it doesn't stay hot. So you have to remember to return it to the base so that it will heat back up. And I can post a link, not here, but here, to the video that I made with the iron so that you can see how I feel about both the iron and this wool mat. So far, they both have served me quite well, and I don't have any issues. Someone had mentioned something about they had like a smell coming out of their wool mat. I have yet to experience that, and so I don't know what that is about. Trust me, if I had a smelly mat, that sounds horrible. If I had a smelly mat, I would definitely tell you, because I am not going to recommend to any of my friends to purchase a smelly mat. We have everything nice and pressed flat. We don't want any wrinkles, right? And so I am going to go ahead and start applying this fabric to my letters. Now, I did mention earlier that if you have a hairdryer, which I do, this is my own personal hairdryer that I use for my hair whenever I use it, whenever I straighten my hair. So I'm going to use this to dry some of that Mod Podge off, so I don't have to be here for 15 years. Listen, I'm older. I don't have 15 years to spend on letters. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and fill this little tiny, not a condiment container, with some Mod Podge. Yes. And then I'm going to paint it onto my letter. And you'll be able to see because I have a video going here, which you will see in the window. So, now, I'm going to make a quick work out of this. I want to do it nice and even, because if you don't do it even, it will definitely affect the way your fabric will lie on your letter. So we want to make sure we get it nice and even, and we don't want to use like gobs and gobs of it, right? Just enough to set the fabric on, because we're going to seal it on over the fabric as well. So we want to make sure we just have a nice thin kind of layer And you can see that I'm not painting too much on there. And I'm trying to do it fast enough that it doesn't dry while I'm still actually painting. Okay, and then lay the fabric on top. Now, also, if you have, you know, when we outline the letters, sometimes they tend to be slightly larger than the actual item, and that's okay because we'll be able to run that off the sides when we're done. Just be careful because fabric tends to move on the bias, and so you have to be careful with the placement because if it sticks in one spot and you tug it at all, it's going to leave you with quite a bit of extra fabric. Like you can see my letter D seems to not want to actually fit here. And that's okay because if it doesn't fit, you can always trim it and kind of paste the pieces together. Okay, so you can see I have a little bit of loop here. You can see, and you can see there's a little bit of extra fabric. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tiny little scissors and just trim that just a little bit and overlap. Because nobody's going to really see that, right? So, we like keeping crafty secrets. I like keeping crafty secrets. Listen, nobody needs to know if I'm taking a photo that I got a hair clip in the back of my top. I'm just kidding. I haven't done that. Yes, I have. You have to do what you have to do to survive, okay? It's survival of the fittest up in this craft world. In these craft streets. So let me, up in these streets. It's so funny. It makes the sewing and crafting world seem so dangerous, doesn't it? All right, so I'm going to get this A done, and then I will go ahead and scooch through all of them, and we will do the outer edges. Okay, so A. These are also fun if you have themed fabric. If you have children and you have fabric that is themed, you can do like the A can have like apples on it, you know, the B can have bumblebees, the C can have, I don't know, something that starts with C. And then you can like totally, now you see how I'm rubbing the fabric? What I'm doing is making sure that it goes on smoothly without wrinkles. If you have any wrinkles, you have to be sure to kind of rub the fabric down so that it stays nice and smooth. Now you can also see that I have a little bit of a extra bit here, which I will show you here in the window. There's a little extra bit right there. Don't worry about that, okay, because we will take care of that a little bit later. Now I'm going to do my other letter. Now, I'm not going to do all the letters right this second because I know y'all have lives and probably don't want to sit here staring at me pasting letters. Or you do because you're super nice. But I'll go ahead and I'll just do this H, and then I will let you have a little break, and then I'll come back once I've done all of them. And we'll move on to the next step. Okay? Oh, hey, be careful because this right here, if you have any little hairs or lint, you want to be sure that you use a lint roller and get rid of it because right now I'm having a little bit of issue because Mango was on my table now. I had a little cat fur there on my letter. It's a good thing we're not allergic in here to cats. Okay. And Mango's actually sitting out in the hallway waiting for me to finish. So I'm going to go ahead and put this H fabric on. And you can totally do this with custom fabric. OM goodness. These are so cute if you have like superhero fabric or floral fabric, or you know, a faux lace or whatever. Oh my goodness, they come out absolutely gorgeous. You can try this with any kind of fabric, and they make the most beautiful signs. You can even do it in like fall fabric and glue the letters together and make a little door sign that says fall y'all or something like that. Super cute, super cute. Okay, so now my H is all done. And I'm going to go ahead and take a break, or let you have a break, go get a snack, whatever. And I'm going to finish up these letters and come back to you with the next step. Okay? All right. Okay, I'm back. And I have magic. Look, they cut themselves. Okay, so I have my strips of fabric. What I did is I actually cut 1/2-inch strips of fabric on the bias. Now, the reason why I cut my fabric on the bias is because for some reason, the way that woven fabric is made, it tends to want to bend around curves easier when it is cut on the bias. So I wanted to make this as easy as possible on myself. You can choose to match the fabric on the letter that you're using like this, or you can mix and match them. So what I decided to do is just grab a strip and whatever goes is where it goes, because it's all about fun. So I'm going to have myself a little bit of fun and probably make a little bit of mess. Now, in case you have not noticed, I did cover my table with some craft paper because what I don't want is to get any of this onto my cutting surface. I don't know if any of y'all have seen my video on how to clean your cutting mats. It's totally doable, and you should probably do it once in a while. I mean, I do mine probably once a year, and that depends on how many things I'm cutting on it, because after a while, the little fibers get stuck inside of your cutting mat, and your mat isn't as good, and then your rotary blades, they get dull really fast. So now you can see that I just put some Mod Podge here around the edge, and all I'm going to do is stick this little ribbon there, right there on the edge of that surface, and there's a little bit of an overhang. So all I'm going to do with that overhang is fold it back onto the letter. You can either fold it on top of the ribbon you're just putting on there, or you can fold it first and put the ribbon on top of that. It doesn't really matter which way you want to do it. Just, you know, make sure that you have enough Mod Podge and that you do it fast enough, because once this Mod Podge dries, it becomes a pain in the butt to finagle things around. Things are like sticky, you're sticky, the letter's sticky, the fabric's sticky, and now you got fingerprints on everything. So it's a pain. Like right now, it's sticking to my little fingers. Okay, so I am just laying this on there, and I'm trying not to get Mod Podge all over my fingers, but it's really hard. So there. And also be very careful not to stretch the fabric too much, because it will recoil, and then you'll have little bubble wrinkles, which is what you actually also do not want. Don't worry about any overhang in the back, because we're either going to trim it or just Mod Podge it backwards so you can't see it. you have glued all of your fabric to the front of your letters and the sides of your letters, what you do is you flip them over onto their face. And you want to put a little bit of Mod Podge on the back and kind of push the fabric onto the back of the letter so that it kind of hugs the letter. The thing about saran wrap is that it doesn't stick to Mod Podge. So you wrap your finger in a little bit of saran wrap, and when you apply your Mod Podge to your letter, you can, push the fabric down with the finger that has a saran wrap, and it won't stick to your letter, which is really nice, because what happens is when my fingers were sticking to the letter while I was trying to put the fabric on, it just kept taking the fabric off, and that was kind of getting on my last nerve. When you're trying to do something and you just can't figure out why it's trying to work against you, that's one of those things I learned working with Mod Podge, is that, if you're not prepared, it will definitely work against you and get on your last nerve. So, then I'm putting on the Mod Podge now, and what I'm waiting for is for the Mod Podge to get slightly tacky. If I tried to push my fabric onto the Mod Podge now, I'd just be pushing wet Mod Podge around. So I wait just for, a minute or so, and then I start pushing the fabric down on the area where I first started applying the Mod Podge. Now, mine kind of dries a little bit faster than usual because I have an air vent above me, and it's blowing right down onto my table. You can't see that, but that's why my Mod Podge tends to want to dry faster than usual. So I'm just rubbing the fabric to the back of the letter to create a nice, neat edge. And this fabric will stick to the back of the letter so that you don't have to see any raw edges around your letter when you hang it up. And now I've done all the other letters. I didn't want y'all to have to sit there and watch me do all these letters. You'd be like, oh my goodness, nah, this is, nope. Okay, and so now, there it is. Isn't that so cute? And I decided to do yellow, and I put blue on the inside. So I have that. And I'll be putting a picture of the final project here. No. I messed it up. I always forget which way to look. Here. No. Oh, for crying out loud. Here. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture of the final project. But so far, so good. I have all my letters and all the fabric is glued to the back. Now, what I'm going to do, and you can do it however you like, I'm going to wrap my letters maybe with a little bit of lace, maybe put a bow. I am thinking about gluing on some colorful buttons. I don't know. I mean, you could do whatever you want with yours. Anyhow, I am so glad you all came to hang out with me to do a little bit of fabric crafting. I know it's a little different from what we usually do, but every once in a while, I like to put a little, fun in there. If you had fun today and you like my content and you want me to keep making these videos for you, go ahead and like, subscribe, invite a friend to hang out with me on Tuesdays, leave a comment because I read every single one of your comments. Yes, I do. And there are several of you that I look forward to seeing every single week. I appreciate you so much. Enjoy your Tuesday. And while you're at it,